I will dare to broaden and say, or make it narrower and say, a black female in this industry. There's never been a black female in the operator space. So you see it in South Africa being the first. And it's been a challenge, right? Because one, I didn't come from an equine background. We didn't race horses. So this was never really as part of my DNA growing up. So you're also trying to lead a company, be part of an industry, also try and understand the industry. So it has been challenging, but I think that I've had the greatest of support. But the biggest thing is I must also play it back or pay it forward, and make sure that we bring in more black professionals into this. It's an absolutely beautiful sport, as you can see. So I'm grateful for the opportunity and grateful that today is 30 years of democracy, and 30 years ago a story like this would have never been told in South Africa's pages. So you would have seen a jockey called Rachel Venica. She's still the only female jockey. So a lot of work needs to be done there. You've seen that, as I was saying, that we had a horse, Mrs. Geriatrics, a ladies syndicate. There's 10 of us that own into Mrs. Geriatrics, and it's absolutely important for us to also be at an ownership level. The one thing that horse racing has had a little bit of is females that own horses. But you've seen it just come down who owns a horse. And I've brought a few females here as well, professionals, to say, come, let's get involved. It is not that difficult. You don't have to own a whole horse by yourself. And I'm starting to hope that the message is filtering out there to everybody that we can all be a part of this exciting game, and you don't have to own a horse by yourself.
Looking back at myself, I take myself use it as an example. In the 90s, we never had an opportunity to even own a racehorse. And as you grow up, study, become a professional, own your own businesses, and then you basically get involved in the horses, and then you start loving it. The other day somebody was asking me, why do you like horses? And I say, I have friends, they like drag racing, some guys like the casinos. My hobby is horse racing, and you fall in love with the game, and if you look around us here now, I think we've transformed this industry. There is much more room to transform it a bit more, but guys need to get involved with a small percentage shareholding in horses to enjoy it, and believe me, you're going to enjoy it. And today, 27th Freedom Day, beautiful day to have racing at Turffontein, and it's a spectacular show. Look at this place. There's a little bit improvements that can be done, but we're getting there. With the sales just happened and people getting involved in purchasing of horses, we're definitely going to look forward to transforming this industry and taking it forward.
And just tell us more about your career as a jockey, as the only female jockey in the country. How has it been, the challenges that you've had to overcome, but also perhaps share the experiences and the achievements that you've had since becoming a jockey?
Yes, of course, being the only woman, it's quite tough and challenging, but it was probably harder when I first started, being alone in the jockey room, sort of having no one helping you. But I was very lucky to have a very good support structure and a few good people behind me, which helped me a lot to become as successful as I have been lucky enough to be. For me, it's more of a, it's you and the horse. It's not so much about gender, but the doors have been opened by women before me, and the whole way the country is looking and the whole sport is changing, so it's made it a lot easier. Last year at the championships I won the Guineas on Eye of the Prophet. I'm actually riding him later today, and I've ridden about 250 winners so far, and it's all looking very good, and I'm enjoying the racing, and we seem to be leveling out, and hopefully it'll open more doors for more women to come through.
Speaking about opening doors for more women to come through, it's 30 years of democracy. Today we are celebrating Freedom Day as a country. How would you say the 30 years has benefited women in the sport, especially in the horse racing sport, where we are seeing now more women, whether in ownership or whether in other participations around the sport, coming through to being part of the sport? How would you say that the 30 years has been able to try and transform the sport where it has been male dominated?
It's really beautiful to see. I can only talk for the bit I've been alive. I'm only 23, so I've been born lucky enough in the freedom generation. So it is now that you can see more and more women coming through, and I know there are female apprentices at the academy at the moment, the Jockey Academy, where we all begin, and it's really nice to see. And I believe, you know, the whole country is turning around. Overseas is the same, and I'm glad we're following suit. So in the 30 years, I've seen, well, the 10 or so I've been really involved, I've seen a lot of change, and it's fantastic.